So, before I go into my first impressions of Raid, I feel the need to explain something. Not for anyone's mistake or fault, but because a certain company doesn't like presenting Raid too honestly. To put it in very short terms, Raid is developed by Lion Game Lion, not Overkill. I can forgive anyone making this misunderstanding because Overkill really enjoys plastering their name all over this game despite having absolutely nothing to do with it besides forced content tie-ins and living under the same publisher. Like, wow, Oldstone's related to Control? What a shocker. I can respect that both games are similar in concept, so it'd be a good idea to advertise it through Payday 2. But don't you think it would be a good idea to let the developers of their own game take charge of advertising their game as opposed to Overkill taking full throttle of that? The point is, Lion Game Lion isn't provided the opportunity to have their own identity because they're simply not given the chance. Even their changelogs are instead found under Payday 2 updates. I genuinely feel bad for Ilya. Give the man his game back. So I tried Raid, and to summarize how I feel about the game, I'm pretty happy for the most part. Ilya wanted to make a spiritual successor to Payday 2, all while maintaining what also made Payday the Heist fun. That's the vibe I'm getting from this game at least. It certainly feels like Lion Game Lion is trying to take the greater elements of each title and make them blend as well as they possibly can. You have the unique abilities and skill trees from Payday 2, but you also have the real-time weapon challenges from Payday the Heist with their own share of twists. Instead of experience from the traditional Payday the Heist, you're instead rewarded with a modification for the weapon you had been investing in, which will ultimately improve its performance. I personally think this works better than Payday 2's system for a couple of reasons. The first one is the loot system is a bit lame considering it's down to RNG and you'll always be looking for one specific modification, and the second reason is there's no feel of earning that modification. Money is incredibly easy to earn in Payday 2, and Raid prevents an easy carry and insists you learn how to play. Speaking of the loot system, I definitely think it's an improvement to a random card system that isn't actually random and your reward is already decided before you select and flip any card. This loot drop system is a tier-based reward depending on your performance of the mission. The more objectives you complete, the higher tier reward you'll receive. You also get a nice cinematic of Hitler losing his shit. As for gameplay, I was relieved to know it wasn't a complete replica of Payday 2 but instead based during the Second World War. Changes have been made to make the player more engaged with the environment, whether it's to find ammo, health, or collectibles to receive better loot by the end of the mission. I don't know whether or not you would find this more of a tedious thing, but Payday 2 for me is literally nothing but complete an objective and shoot police with the rare case of needing to use an ammo bag. It's boring as shit. Whilst on that subject, Lion Game Lion have attempted to be rid of the whole pressing or holding F to get something done, mostly with lockpicks. It's a lot less boring and much more engaging in my opinion, and can only add to the experience of trying to get shit done while something is attempting to kill you. Some people might disagree, but for really dumb reasons. Apparently some think this is a dumb mechanic which is too hard to understand and takes too long. What? What could be too hard to understand about this?
Kurgan nearly. Easy. Over there, a ladder.
Magical. There was something I didn't enjoy too much from what I've seen. It would be the profile system, in which I think Payday 2 managed it a little bit better. I think having a fixed character and class for each profile is a little unnecessary and should be something you could just swap around anytime you want, much like how the cosmetic system works in the game. I never really understood why there are 5 profiles either. Like, there's 4 classes. Why would I need this? I'm not gonna dodge the subject either. I know people have been wanting me to mention it, so here it is. I've had some mixed opinions about the visuals. It seems like Lion Game Lion have attempted to put more focus on the effects and dynamic changes in their levels, all while sacrificing some visuals in the game. We can't deny that Payday 2 might look cleaner and detailed, but there's a noticeable struggle when the level has to render a dynamic change, namely Panic Room when it has to re-render a lot of the different aspects of the building because it's blown up. If you were to compare that to Payday the Heist's version of Panic Room, it handles it a lot more easier, and this is just because of the way that Diesel was modified to make Payday 2 happen. It focuses more on graphics and less on rendering those sort of scenarios. Hence why Payday 2's core levels are much more static as opposed to the design that Payday the Heist's one have where things would be changing all the time. Bottom line, I've personally believe graphics do not always make a good game. As long as you can have fun with a game, you know, who cares? I do understand this is a beta, the game isn't released yet, I know there's still time for changes if Lion Game Lion ever saw the space for such a thing, so who knows? Maybe I'll find something I dislike down the line or something I've mentioned here that is later on improved. In the meantime, I've been pretty satisfied, and I'm definitely going to buy it. If you think I'm wrong or disagree with anything, that's fine. You're entitled to your opinion. but since this is theoretically an IHVG video, I have to respond appropriately. Fuck you. Speaking of the loot system, I definitely think it's an improvement. Fuck, why is it so hard to say that shit?